a war of words has erupted between former Finance Minister Ruth Richardson and current Finance Minister Nicola Willis over the government's fiscal direction. Both say they're keen on a debate, but they are yet to agree on when it'll happen and where, while the Taxpayers Union, which Richardson chairs, has launched something of a publicity stunt. This is Nicola's fudge that has been delivered to newsrooms around the country, making fun of what it describes as Willis's spin on our financial health.
The following message was created using AI.
Nicola Willis keeps fudging the surplus with debt she won't discuss. Our economy is shrinking and government spending is up, while our wallet can't keep up. Taste the sugary fudge at Nicola's Fudge.
Nicola's Fudge is a tongue-in-cheek campaign by the Taxpayers Union. Find out more at nicolasfudge.nz.
And that is a literal website that you can go to and read more about it. It is a slick campaign. We invited Willis and Richardson onto the program this morning. We haven't heard back from Nicola Willis's office, but Ruth Richardson did come back to us, and she is with us this morning. Good morning to you, Ruth.
Good morning.
I haven't tasted the fudge yet, but the message is very clear that you think that Nicola Willis is fudging the numbers. Is the problem that she's not being upfront about it, or that you think she should be cutting a lot harder and a lot faster?
We'll come back to the reason for the campaign. At the heart of the campaign, I think we both want the same things. We want to balance the books, we want to lower debt, we want to rein in the explosion of public spending and public servants, and we want to set the scene for low inflation and high growth. So I know what it takes to get it, and fudging the figures doesn't cut it, but serious reform will, and that is what we're urging, and our campaign has been spectacularly successful in shining a light on the issues that the current government must deal with to put our financial house in order.
But in order to do that, is there not going to have to be a heck of a lot more pain endured by those who are already doing it pretty tough?
Well, we know the pain from high inflation. If you're not in control of your fiscal position, you will get high inflation. That has been current pain. We know the pain of having to pay very high rates for the interest bill that we're racking up because we're not dealing with debt. So just to give an example, the cost of servicing our debt, just the interest, would pay for half of our education bill in 1 year. I mean, this is serious stuff. If you don't deal with the fundamentals, then everybody is in a zone of pain. And what I did was to basically break that cycle and bring about high growth and low inflation. And it's important that the government understands that tackling runaway spending, getting a surplus, lowering debt, dealing to the explosion in public servants and public expenditure, all of those things need to be tackled in order to give us the high growth that this government says it wants and we all want.
To be fair, our debt levels would be lower if they hadn't delivered billions of in tax cuts. Should they have not done that?
Well, it was part of their overall recipe, and the Taxpayers Union stands for lower taxes. The difficulty is you have to match that with lower spending. You can't talk about tax before you address spending. Failure to address spending has got us in this pickle. So this is a spending issue, not a taxing issue.
Nicola Willis has said that she wants to know I want to test how much human misery Ruth is happy to witness. She does have a point, doesn't she?
That's just being absolutely dramatic. If you think about current financial misery, everybody who faced high interest rates and high inflation knows what financial misery is about. That's what we have to deal with. We've got a new Reserve Bank governor. She's making it pretty clear. Monetary policy will play its part, but the government must play its with putting its own financial house in order. That's what's at stake.
To be fair, you operated in a first-past-the-post environment. Nicola Willis is operating under an MMP environment. Do you think that stops her from cutting harder and faster and being more radical?
That does change the equation, and it's not radical to put your books in order. That should be standard ethics. It is a different environment, but if I look at her 2 coalition partners and her 3 associate ministers of finance, David Seymour, Shane Jones and Chris Bishop, all of them are fiscal conservatives. All of them want to see the books balanced. All of them want to see debt lowered. Even the Prime Minister, in his KiwiSaver speech a couple of weeks ago, acknowledged the scourge of high debt and put on the table what he should, which is starting with the biggest item of expenditure, which is entitlement to superannuation. The age of super should be raised. He says that. We did it, and that shouldn't be a big ask, even in an MMP environment. It's common sense.
The PSA has called this a false flag, that what you're doing is trying to make Nicola Willis and the National Party look moderate. Any truth to that?
Well, it's just ludicrous, and it shows how farcical this has become. This is a matter of getting back to the heart of the debate, the kinds of policies we would expect in a Minister of Finance budget who's serious about growth, who's serious about tackling debt, who's serious about bringing runaway expenditure under control and not fudging the figures. So it's very clear what the campaign is about, and it's just fantasy land by the PSA, but then they are given to fantasy.
Are we going to get this debate or not? Or only if it's at Parliament, or only if it's at News Talk ZB? Are we just disagreeing on where and when it should take place?
I'm willing to debate these issues at any time and in any place. And that was the challenge of Nicola Willis, who got this matter rolling. She said 2 days ago she would be willing to debate these issues with any time, any place. So it was our pick. We made our pick, and she's now resisting it. The ball's in her court.
Why not go to Parliament, though, so that as much as at NZME we'd love to host it at News Talk ZB, why not have it at Parliament in front of all media outlets and get it out to all New Zealanders?
Yeah, but sorry to say, first of all, it was our pick. And secondly, we picked News Talk ZB because they are the biggest media platform in the country. So why not go to the biggest?
Yeah, we'll take that. You could come on Herald NOW and do it as well. We did extend the invite to Nicola Willis this morning, but we...
Far from being in the shadows, I'm prepared to front.
Yeah, it is different, though, criticising a government from the outside rather than actually being the politician in the middle of it. And I guess you know that as well as anyone, because you literally had security following you when you instituted your cuts. Are you suggesting they just don't have the mettle to do it and cope with the public backlash that it may result in?
A Minister of Finance needs to be made stern stuff, and they need to promote with their colleagues policies that will work. And I guess that's what I bring to the table. I've got credibility on the score, and I'm urging the Minister of Finance to look at the issues in front of her, not fudge the figures, but really get to the heart of the matter, which is runaway spending, high debt, and we're in the grip of what could be a high inflation and low growth environment. And that's the last thing that any Minister of Finance would want.
Well, I look forward to seeing this debate should it eventuate. Thank you so much for your time this morning. That is Ruth Richardson, Chair of the Taxpayers Union, but of course also former Finance Minister.